Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all been doing really well. I've got another Throne of Glass video today. Today we are going to be doing a bit of a reading vlog, my first impressions, my honest thoughts, and a little bit of a wrap up of Crown of Midnight. I am so excited to be getting into this. It's honestly been a long time coming. I read the first Throne of Glass book, it must have been almost a month ago now. No, it can't have been. I think it has been almost a month ago. Time obviously goes fast. So many books on the TBR, so many to get to, but I'm decided that this is the weekend that I'm going to start to tackle this. So I'm super excited to capture my first thoughts and take you guys with me. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. So before we get into the actual reading vlog, I'm going to read the blurb just to provide a little bit of context for anyone who maybe hasn't read the book or is just curious to see as a little bit of a refresh. I have filmed this part of the video about 7 times and I keep stumbling on the words. So if I'm pronouncing something wrong, I'm really sorry, but I don't know. Celaena Sardothien, royal assassin, is the king of Ardalan's deadliest weapon. She must win her freedom through his enemy's blood, but she cannot bear to kill for the crown. And every death Celaena fakes, every lie she tells, puts those she loves at risk. Torn between her two protectors, a captain and a prince, and battling a dark force far greater than the king, Celaena must decide what she will fight for, her liberty, her heart, or the fate of a kingdom. Okay, that was the first time I read it all the way through, and oh my gosh, that ending. Torn between her two protectors, a captain and a prince. I mean, we know who they are, but... well, I think I know who they are. But I'm really excited to see how this plays out. It sounds like there's going to be a little bit of a romance aspect, maybe a little bit more so in this one, so... that'll be good. But battling a dark force far greater than the king. Who are we talking about there? Her liberty, her heart, or the fate of a kingdom. Wow. Talk about suspenseful just right off the bat. So I'm really excited to just get into this one and see if it is all the blurb cracks it out to be. So I'm super excited. And let's get into it. Good morning. It's now the next day and I have read up to page 54, so chapter 7. It's really good so far. I feel like there's definitely a little bit more of an element of magic coming in now, which is really exciting. So I'm excited to see kind of how that's played into how it's found out about. We're starting to see a little bit more about her backstory and just the backstory of a few other of the characters, so that's going to be really cool, and I definitely want to find out more about them. I think I may also tack the Assassin's Blade review and read onto the end of this, because I think they might tie in quite nicely, being that that is kind of a bit more of a book of the backstories and the different things from my understanding. I think I might combine the two of those and do like a 2 books in one video, just to show all of my thoughts before moving on to the next one. The other factor in this that I'm going to be really excited to see is more of her actual assassin abilities, which we didn't get to see a great deal of in Throne of Glass. It obviously allured to the fact that she's this amazing assassin, but we didn't really get to see actually that ability too much. So I'm really excited to actually see what she can do, how powerful she really is, and also it questions kind of her morals a little bit. By the looks of the first 50 pages, it looks like she's going to have sort of a moral decision, an ethical decision, a decision that maybe isn't in the best interest of the people that she needs to make the decision on behalf of. So we're gonna have to wait and see what she decides, how it plays out. But so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely finding it to be pretty captivating. It's definitely easy to get to. It's not too world building heavy, complex at this stage, but I definitely know it'll get more like that maybe later on in the book, if not definitely later on in the series. So yeah, I'm excited to keep going. Hello everybody, I come bearing a little reading update. So the time is now 9:14. I don't know if it's going to be backwards. And I'm now up to chapter 25, page 206. So it's been a pretty good day. I've been able to get through quite a lot, and definitely more than I thought I was going to be able to get through today. So I'm definitely happy with my progress. So let's talk about my thoughts so far. I will just say for reference, I think it's like a 418 page book and I'm there. So yeah, halfway pretty much. So definitely doing well. And I also will just say, if you haven't already, go check out my previous video where I spoke about me reading Throne of Glass for the first time, because some of my thoughts may relate back to that video. So definitely pause this, go check that out if you haven't already. But let's get into my thoughts. So in the previous video, I was chatting about this love triangle. I'm not going to go into the specifics in case I spoil anything, but obviously at the moment, we're definitely leaning into one of the people in particular in that love triangle. I don't even know if there is a love triangle anymore or if we kind of are just on that train. But we'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of go back to a triangle, but unsure. Definitely enjoying the fact that there is a little bit more of a romance aspect in this though. I also like that we get to see a little bit more of her actually being an assassin. In the last one we saw a really small bit, but in this we're definitely seeing a little bit more. I do want to see even more though, because I feel like at the moment she's not really done anything. She did one kind of thing, but I want to see more of her showing that side, and also more of her being like really powerful in that assassin vibe. Like, I just feel like she's not this incredible assassin that they're kind of marking her out to be at the moment. I feel like she kind of had a very close encounter, so not sure. Want to see more of actually how good she really is. Something I am really liking in this is, firstly, not just the character development, but like definitely finding out more about the characters, more of the characters' backstories, who they are, how they came to be how they are. Like, there's definitely still a lot of area for more in that space, but I'm definitely enjoying finding out about that so far. I'm also really enjoying like the kind of like politics, hierarchy, regal aspect, like all of that sort of thing is really interesting. I think it's done really well so far. I'm also really liking the characters still. I think we only have really like 2 new characters at this stage, so I think it's really easy to follow because we're kind of slowly dripping in one new character at a time, and it makes sense. It's not just throwing a bunch of new people in your face kind of thing. So it's easy to follow still, which is good, because it's always scary going into a fantasy knowing that you have to start from scratch, learning all these new characters, all these new places, names you don't recognize, places you don't know. So definitely at the moment it's easy to follow, which is good. There's just something about fantasies in general, like the stakes are just so high, so much higher than normal, and everybody has their own thing going on. Like, all of the characters have their own individual kind of subplots and storylines and backstory. It just makes it so much more interesting than just following the one character and the one character's storyline. And that also comes into like the multiple POVs that are in this one. Even though you're definitely following Selena as the main character, I really like to see the perspectives of others, even if it is just for like one paragraph or one little section. It is really cool to just see what they're going through, what's happening in their part of the story, and how it all weaves together. So yeah, that was kind of all for now. I'm sure I'm probably missing things that I was wanting to talk about, but at the moment they're my thoughts, and I'm really excited to keep reading. So I will chat to you guys very soon with the next part of this little vlog. Hello everybody, it is a new day and I am excited to get back into my book today. So I have a goal of, I think it's about 75 pages I want to get through today. I'm working today, so I'm not going to have the most amount of time to actually read as much as I would like, but I'm aiming for up to chapter 37. So just for reference, that's 37, that much. It should be doable. It's not really a great amount, but I'm gonna get started now. I'm on my lunch break at the moment, and hopefully this afternoon I can come back and give you guys an update. I have to go back to work now, but oh my god, I just read up to part 2. I'm literally speechless. I have no words, is all I can say. But I will say, love that we get to see her assassin side is the one thing I will say that's finally coming out. But oh my god, I'm speechless. I can't. I will update again later tonight. Hello, I come bearing another update. I have read up to my 37 chapters, so I'm feeling really good. I'm gonna stop it now. It's only 6 o'clock, but I just want to savor it because it's just going so amazingly, and I'm probably at a part where it's not like a cliffhanger, so I'm happy to stop here and I'll pick up more tomorrow. I'm just trying to savor it for as long as I can because I'm really not wanting to rush the series, so I'm gonna leave it here for the night. But I will say I'm absolutely loving it. It's really hard to say anything that's not a spoiler, but I'm loving the main character. I think she is just so amazing. She's so strong. And I'm just loving the tension and the fighting, and I just feel like there's a lot going on. So I'm excited to see what the rest of the book has in store. But I will come to you back tomorrow. But I will come to you tomorrow afternoon with another update. So I will speak to you then. Hello everybody. Now a few days have passed since my last update, and I am pleased to announce I have read the book, and it was just everything. It was incredible. I rated it a 5 stars. I just thought it was magical. I'm actually going to read my review that I posted on my Instagram. It is spoiler free, so I say, wow, what a journey. This is book 2 in the Throne of Glass series and continues to follow Celaena Sardothien and her journey as an incredible assassin. As in book 1, expect to find friendship, betrayal, and a messy love triangle. I usually don't like love triangles, but I feel like this is so captivating, and I'm curious to see what happens in the next few books. There were so many times during this where I audibly gasped, and the ending had me absolutely shook. The depth to these characters has been done so well, and the book is so messy in the best way. Now I'm going to read Assassin's Blade, which is true because I have Assassin's Blade here ready to be read. I'm not going to read it straight away, but I think I'm going to read it at like the start of July, so I'll add that onto the end of this video as well, my thoughts about that. But I thought it was probably best to combine both of these, as this one is quite a small book, and Assassin's Blade looks like just shy of 400 pages on this copy, and this has like quite large text, so shouldn't take me too long to get through. And obviously being that it is kind of a backstory like novella sort of book, from my understanding, I probably won't have too many thoughts, so I just thought I'd tack that onto the end of this one instead of having a whole new video dedicated to Assassin's Blade. But that's kind of all the spoiler-free content I can really say about this. I mean, it's incredible, it's 5 stars, it's captivating, it's gripping. If you haven't read this novel yet, maybe skip forward to my reading vlog part of the Assassin's Blade diary and my review on that. But if you have read the book and you'd like to hear my honest thoughts, stay tuned. So firstly, we need to talk about Nehemia's death. My jaw was on the floor when I read that. I thought, surely not, and I just feel like she's going to come back to life or something, because this can't be the end of her. And female friendships are always done so well by Sarah J Maas, so for that to be over so soon, like this is only the 2nd book and she passed away halfway through, so surely we need to see more of her. I know she obviously comes back towards the end when she comes back in the portal, but I'm not convinced that that is the end of Nehemia's journey. I think she's going to be still throughout the rest of the novel, and I really hope she is, because I really enjoyed her as a character. I thought she was a great friend for Celaena and just a really nice person, even though they had their little disagreement at the end. I just think their friendship was so pure, and I really want to see more of her. So that was that honestly shocked me so much. I was not expecting that at all. Next we have to talk about Archer, because he was obviously one of the newer characters we had introduced. I actually was starting to like their friendship sort of at the beginning and middle, and there was kind of a period of time where I was thinking that maybe there was going to be some sort of like love square business going on between Chaol, Dorian, Archer and Celaena, and her in the middle and all these boys interested in her. But obviously that wasn't the case. Towards the end we found out that he was not to be trusted, and I was so glad at the end when he was kind of getting in her head a little bit and she was thinking, maybe I need to be the better person and let him go. And then obviously in true Celaena fashion, she beheaded him and presented his head to the king. Now that was just such a great moment. I honestly was feeling like proud of her for doing that, and I felt like that was definitely the right thing, because I knew for a fact he was going to come back in coming books and be sort of like this evil person that she regretted not killing. So I was glad she did that when she got the opportunity to, because
he obviously could not be trusted. So speaking of the love triangle between Dorian, Chaol and Celaena, obviously it was still present in this book. There was definitely times where it seemed that she was really interested in Chaol, but then obviously the situation happened where he betrayed her, he found out about Nehemia and he didn't warn her. And obviously rightfully so, she got into that fight with him. And now it was kind of like, obviously that seems to be over. But then towards the end of the book, just before we found out the big surprise, it seemed that they sort of were having a little bit of a connection again. She obviously has a soft spot in her heart. The fact that she has dedicated her will to him and all of those things make you just feel like their connection could really rekindle in the next few books. But then we have Dorian, who's still really interested in her, and there definitely could be something there, if not a really nice friendship between the two of them. So I guess I've slightly touched on it, but the surprise at the end, I did not see this coming at all. I did know that, I'm gonna say Aelin, but I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I knew that she was going to be a main character in the next few books, but I didn't realize that she was the main character. That was an absolute shock to me. I did not see that coming from a mile away, and I'm so glad that I didn't see it coming, and I'm so glad that nothing was there to spoil it for me, because I would have been so disappointed if I found out about that beforehand. But I was absolutely in shock, and I'm so excited to see what happens now that she's been sent away to her people, with Chaol not even realizing, and now he obviously knows her secret. It's going to be really good. So I'm excited to read Assassin's Blade, but I really want to go on to Heir of Fire, I think is next already, but I do think it'll be really good to get a backstory of the different characters before then going into Heir of Fire with a little bit more knowledge. I can already tell that this is going to be a series that I want to reread just to find the foreshadowing in this, because I already know there's definitely parts in the novel that are foreshadowed, and probably in the series as well. So I feel like it would be so great to have a reread of this when I finish and just find all the little nuances that she has foreshadowed, just to see exactly what was right before our eyes. I mean, there's so many other things that have happened in this book, even just like subplots like the killing of the Yellowlegs, how that's going to play about. It seemed that they kind of knew, I think it was the king from memory, or maybe it was Chaol. Someone suspected that it wasn't just a standard disappearance. I think it was the king, because her whole caravan thing was ransacked. It's going to be interesting to see if that kind of comes back into it, or at least that sort of aspect of like killing that witchy spirit. But the book as a whole was just absolutely incredible. I definitely am going to read the rest of the series. I just can tell already this is going to be an amazing series, so I'm hooked. I absolutely am ready to read the next one right now, but I'm gonna have to pace myself, because I know by the time I get to the end of the book I'm going to wish that I had waited a little bit longer. So that was really all for Crown of Midnight, so stay tuned to where I read Assassin's Blade in the second half of this video. I would read the blurb, but it just seems to be a bunch of summaries about her other books, so no blurb, we're gonna go into it blind. So I hope you enjoy the next half of this video. Good morning everybody, happy Tuesday. It is a new day and I have read the first Assassin's Blade novella. So it was The Assassin and the Pirate Lord. It was really interesting. I thought it gave a cool little backstory. Obviously it wasn't like really high stakes because it's just a novella. I'm assuming that nothing comes from that it was kind of, this is the story, this is the outcome, and we don't talk about that situation again, but maybe it will come up again. But that's kind of how I'm thinking, like they're just little stories that kind of have no large meaning, but maybe I'm wrong. But obviously we get to see more of Celaena and Sam, which is really nice, and to see their growth. She's only 16 in this, which is crazy, and I almost want like a backstory for the backstory, because how did she get to this stage of being an assassin? Now also thinking about what we know from Crown of Midnight, how has she gone from that situation, like, or as a child growing up, to then being an assassin? So I don't think we're going to see that in these books, which is fine, but obviously I want even more information. So I'm nearly 80 pages through, but there's almost 440 pages, I think, and there's 5 novellas, so I'm 1 novella down, and I'll be going on to the next one, The Assassin and the Healer. I'm excited to see that one. I also just love all the detail in this book, like even down to like the page numbers are so cool. But yeah, obviously not really too much to add because it was just a 75 page novella, but I'm really liking seeing more of Selena, more of how she got to the type of person she is, and also like just to see that she is a good-hearted person is really good to see. She's like kind of giving like Robin Hood sort of vibes. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to read the next one. I am actually off to a cruise now, so I'm going to bring the book with me, of course, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have a chance to read it. We will see. So I will catch you when I've finished the next book. Hi everyone, it is a new day once again, but I come to you having finished the second novella.
So we finished that and we are now moving on to The Assassin and the Desert.
I'm pretty sure The Assassin and the Healer is the smallest novella out of the 5, so not really a great deal happened, like it wasn't really giving a lot. The only thing it was kind of giving was female friendships, which I loved, and it just makes me love Selena even more, especially now reflecting on what kind of happened in Crown of Midnight. Just like, she's just such a girl's girl. I love her. So yeah, that was really all I got out of that. There wasn't really too much more that I felt added to the story. Hello everybody, I am back home. This book has travelled with me on a cruise and also on a road trip, so it's very well travelled, but I've finally made it home and I have read another one of the 5 novellas. So I finished The Assassin and the Desert, so I'm now over halfway through the novellas, which is good because I've committed to read this by Monday. It's now Saturday. I'm doing a buddy read, so I need to have it read by Monday morning, and yeah, it's like a midday Saturday on the time I'm filming this, so I kind of need to get a move on, but I'll give you my thoughts on this one.
So we've read Assassin and the Desert. I'll be going on to The Assassin and the Underworld. This one was probably the biggest one we've had yet. It was over 100 pages long.
However, I will say this one was my favourite out of the 3, I believe. I kind of take back what I said about saying that they kind of don't connect, because it definitely does refer to the first novella a lot going forward. But I would say they're kind of interconnected standalones in a way, at this stage anyway. I'm actually really loving how they're like little stories in themselves. They're all really different, but they do kind of connect, and I'm excited to see what happens now, because things may start to get a little bit interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in The Assassin and the Underworld, because of where Selena is kind of left in The Assassin and the Desert. I found like there was a lot of plot twists in this one, more so than any of the other ones. I thought the story was really captivating. It makes a lot of sense. Everything kind of makes sense. And then I think the ending played out perfectly. I loved the ending. I thought it was really clever, really interesting, lots of twists and turns, but also really wholesome at the same time. It just makes me love Selena even more. I love her as a main character. I think she's so strong, and I think what makes her such an incredible assassin is not necessarily her strength or anything like that. I think it's her wits and also her intuition. I think she has such a strong intuition. She just knows what to do, and she always makes the right call. At this stage anyway, I could be eating my words later on. But I just think she's such a great main character. She's so interesting, and I just love her, and I've been loving this so far, so I'm excited to keep going. I think I'm going to have a little bit of a break, but that is where we're at. I've read that. No, I haven't. I've read that, and I have that to go. So pretty much just over halfway. I don't mind the pajama attire, but I have just finished 4 out of 5. And it just keeps getting better and better, and I love Selena and Sam so much. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But I just am loving seeing them together in this book. It's just so nice to see their relationship, their friendship, like everything. And I'm just so curious to see what's going to happen in the 5th one, but I'm really scared now. But I'm about 3/4 of the way through the whole novella. Let's do a little check-in. That's my bookmark there. So we're getting through it. But I'm really scared to see what happens. But I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm loving doing it as the 3rd book. Having read Throne of Glass, having read Crown of Midnight, now reading this, I think that's the way to go. I mean, obviously I don't have experience doing it the other way, but this way has worked really well. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen, but I'm also really scared, because kind of knowing what happens from our foreshadowing and Throne of Glass and things like that, but so far it's so good. I love Selena. Like, I just say it every time. I love her. I think she's such a great main character. So let's see how this ends. I think I'm going to end it there for the night. It is 6 o'clock. So, I mean, I could finish it, but I think I'm going to save it for tomorrow and then give myself tomorrow to just relish in the goodness or the badness and the heartbreak. I don't know what it'll bring. So we shall see. A little bit to go, but I'm really excited to finish it. And it's definitely gotten more interesting the more it goes on, but I need to know what happens now because it's kind of ended in a nice place with the 4th one. So what's gonna happen? Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday today, also known as the day I am finally finishing Assassin's Blade and finishing this video, because this video has been going on for about 2 weeks now, just me finishing these books, maybe even longer than that actually by the time I started Crown of Midnight. So I'm excited to kind of wrap it all up and tell you my thoughts. But I'm gonna get tucked into this today. Actually, I'm gonna start it right now. So let's see how I go. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish it in one sitting, but I'm excited to get into the last novella. Very scared, but really excited to see how it plays out. Okay, off the bat already, we have a little after section at the start of this novella, which I believe is going to take place after this novella and before the Throne of Glass first book. So that's going to provide a little bit more context. And then chapter 1 says 11 days earlier. So I love that we have like a little bit of a pre-timeline, like we know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of getting there. So I love when books do that. I love kind of knowing more than the characters know. I feel like that's sometimes really cool. It does make me scared because I know how it's going to end and I'm kind of like, no, surely not. There's going to be another way. But yeah, let's crack in 11 days earlier. Let's see how we get to the after section. No, the thing that I knew was gonna happen but I did not happen just happened, and now I'm sad. And like, I'm really getting through it. Like, I'm nearly done now. I just this really hurts. Sarah J. Maas knows how to rip your heart out. So gotta love it. And just like that, I've read it all. I thought it was so good. I think I'm going to give it a 4-star, but it probably could be a 4.5. I really loved the order I went into this with: Throne of Glass, then Crown of Midnight, and then this third, because I think the backstory that you get and the kind of foreshadowing that you get in this, it's really good to kind of know what they're talking about. I think if I read this first, a lot of what happened in here would just kind of go over my head a little bit. And I wouldn't have necessarily picked up on it by the time I read Throne of Glass or Crown of Midnight. So I really love the order. I definitely would recommend reading this third. I don't want to say I found the first half boring, because I really actually loved the pirate novella. I thought that was so interesting. The second novella, I just didn't find it very captivating. Possibly there's some foreshadowing that, which I haven't come across yet, but I just kind of find it a bit blah, really. I mean, it was still fine, but I think overall a 4-star for me, because the ending was so good. The second half of the novella, like the second half of the whole book, was really good. I kind of wish I went into the expectation, instead of looking at it as 5 novellas, I wish I kind of looked at it as one book that kind of skips the point of time, if that makes sense, because thinking of it as 5 novellas at the start felt too like choppy for me. But if I just thought of it as one book where they skip a little bit of time in between, it would have probably made a bit more sense and maybe found it a bit more captivating at the start. But I still really enjoyed this. I thought it was so interesting. So yeah, a 4-star read for me. If you haven't read this book or the other 2, maybe click out now, because I'm going to talk about some specifics that happened in this. So the first, and obviously the most heartbreaking, was Sam's death. And now I'm kind of looking back at Dorian and Chaol and I'm like, do they even compare to Sam? I mean, probably, but I think, can I see her being with one of the 2? Probably no time soon, because she really loves Sam and I feel like she hasn't had a chance to grieve, because she's literally gone from like being with Sam to being arrested. Like, before she's even had a chance to think about it, she's at the salt mines. So I mean, I know there's some time that passes through Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, but I still feel like she hasn't properly mourned Sam. So I don't know if he'll be brought up even more in the coming books, especially now hearing about how everything played out, how they ended up like being together, but like they didn't have enough time together. I wish we didn't see his body, because I would have loved to be delusional and think that he is coming back to life, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I really loved this. I thought it was great to see how she kind of got to where she was with the king at the salt mines. That was really cool. I think the second half was great, like really captivating, especially leading up to Sam's death. Like, you know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of like how and when. I definitely think this is necessary. Like, I definitely wouldn't skip on this. I think this is a really good read. Possibly if you read it first, you might not be like necessarily compelled to read. Like, I don't know, if I read the first half of this, I'd probably be like, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with the series, because it's kind of just giving nothing. Like, it's, I don't know, not giving nothing, but it's not like super captivating unless you've read Throne of Glass and you already know the characters, kind of thing. That's why I'd recommend this third, because you already know, you've already been intrigued by the characters. I think reading this first wouldn't necessarily give a proper feel on the rest of the series. Like, if you read Throne of Glass, you're either going to know if you love it or hate it, but if you read this, you're not necessarily going to know if you actually enjoyed the whole series, if that makes sense. But overall, I want even more. I want to know how Celaena actually got to being an assassin still, because they didn't really touch on that, unless I missed it. But I mean, I know it said like she washed up, half dead sort of vibe, but I need more. I need to know how she even got that far. So yeah, I mean, really enjoyed it still. Obviously, this is it now. This is the video over. So that was my thought. I'm excited to see if you guys are reading this alongside me, if you're up to a similar sort of part. Let me know what your thoughts are on the book so far, or if you have finished the series and you want to leave a comment. Obviously keep it spoiler free, but I'd love to know what you have to say. I know this is a lot of people's favorite series ever, so I'm really excited to get further into it, and I will be filming my next video, which is Heir of Fire. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to smash the thumbs up button and comment down below what you think of Throne of Glass. I would love to know all your thoughts. I'm really excited to keep vlogging my thoughts on this series, so definitely stay tuned for the next video where I talk about Heir of Fire. And that is all for today. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and stay cozy.